so, the phone system here at the detention center are a little bit different than like a regular phone system. Basically, all incoming calls and outgoing calls are recorded, and under your, the phone company you guys have got now, they can actually track those cell phones.
That's correct. Everything is recorded, all incoming, outgoing calls, and the inmates know that they're recorded also. It tells them that they're being recorded.
So this actually helped you guys out a lot, back when Amber Franks, fled when she was on work release up here at the government center.
Right, yeah, it was our main point that we focused on to locate them. During the first time, Matt had actually talked to our phone provider, and they said they could provide a service that they could actually pinpoint and locate her, and that's how we called the first time.
And that was a pretty quick turnaround from the time they said, hey, we can tell you exactly where the phone is of Amber Franks and Jeff Mitchell, her boyfriend. I mean, the time it took for them to say they could get it and they got it was pretty quick.
Right.
It was less than 48 hours we had them back in custody in South Carolina.
So now they were extradited here back to the detention center. And they knew for a fact that you guys had basically located them through the cell phone.
We had some preliminary hearings in court, in district court here in Barron County, and that was part of my testimony that's how we tracked them in South Carolina.
So that they get back here to the Barron County Detention Center, and of course, Amber Franks was already doing time for a felony. So Jeff Mitchell was released on an ankle monitor.
Right.
Which at some point, between the time he was released and ultimately the time he cut off the ankle monitor, he was caught up here threatening jail staff.
We had actually made phone calls to jail staff. He was very belligerent, cussing and making threatening comments. At that time, I started checking in on the subject to see what was going on with him, and I called our local CAPS office that was monitored the ankle bracelet on him. And I think it was actually that day he cut his ankle monitor off. And after he cut it off, he had called the local office there to try to get it put back on. And they three-wayed with office here, and he asked which he was cussing, he asked who was gonna put the ankle monitor back on, and she told him it didn't work that way. Once he cut it off, he was in violation. So we couldn't locate him through that process now. I'd actually talked to state police here, and they got me involved with the U.S. Marshal Service out of Bowling Green, and I worked with them for 2 days. We actually tracked his phone and was watching him for 2 days until we got the warrant and everything cleared so we could get him picked up.
So people that think they can get around this phone system here, I mean, they really need to get themselves together and realize that, you know, if I'm calling an inmate from a cell phone and you know, we're talking about sensitive information regarding a case or drug activity or anything like that, you guys are gonna know. You can basically say, all right, here's where the cell phone came from, here's where they are.
Right, if there's a need that, you know, in a case like this with Mr. Mitchell, that we needed to locate him, yes, it is a service that we can locate that phone.
How serious do you all take threats to staff and deputies here at the detention center?
Oh, very serious. You know, the subject was, come find out he was under the influence of methamphetamine. He was a danger to himself and to our staff. You know, we're not sure how serious his threats are. We gotta take them as if he does mean it.
Right. And you guys can definitely tell a difference as far as somebody that's brought in, they're not happy to see either one of you all or any of the staff. So, you know, they may say things then, but then calm down later. So there was something different about this threat.
Right, when an individual's outside the jail making threatening comments, you have to take them serious, because if you don't and something does happen, you know, whose fault is that gonna be? It's gonna be mine or his. So yeah, we take every threat serious.
And all threats are documented, whether it's towards us or the judges or jail staff or anybody. We document all of that in case an event does happen in the future, then we have documentation of that.
Y'all run a pretty tight ship up here at the jail?
It's real tight.
According to the inmates, we do, compared to other jails.
How many people have escaped this detention center?
Since we've been involved, this is the first one we've had.
It's not.
It's called an escape, but she basically walked off from a work detail.
So nobody's ever gotten away from this facility?
Right.
No.
How many of them have wanted to?
Well, we've got probably 250 in here right now that probably wants to. But, at the old jail, there was an escape. There was one part of the facility that wasn't as secure as the rest of it, and they actually kicked a hole through the ceiling, and there were 4 of them that were on the run for about 3 or 4 days, but they were all captured within a few days. But you never like to mention the word escape when you're working in a jail, but basically to get out of this facility, somebody would have to open a door for you, because it's very secure.
And as jailer and as chief deputy, basically both of your all's names are on this. Y'all are responsible for every single inmate that's here. So, how does it feel to know that, the person that actually left work release within 2 days, bam, they were taken into custody and brought back here?
Well, I think he can tell you that when it happened, I don't think I slept for about 2 days, but once we had them arrested in South Carolina and found them, I actually made the trip to South Carolina myself to escort them back. So we take it very seriously.